We're first going to start out and look at the additive identity. This identity reads that when 0 is added to any number, the sum is the number. So for example, if we have 7 plus 0, the sum is 7. So again, any number added to 0 is that number. We are also going to learn two multiplication properties. Those properties are the multiplicative identity and multiplicative property of 0. For the multiplicative property, it reads that for any number a, the product of a and 1 is a. The difference between multiplicative identity and additive identity, there are two things. One, with multiplicative, it's a product because we're multiplying, and instead of it being 0, like with the additive property, it is 1. We already know this, but we probably didn't know that it actually had a name. So if we look at an example, 14 times 1 is 14. 62 times 1 equals 62. We know that any number times 1 is that number. The multiplicative property of 0 reads, for any number a, the product of a and 0 is 0. So here we are seeing that 0 come back up, just like we did in the additive identity, although when it's multiplication, it's called the multiplicative property of 0. And we already know this property, we just probably did not know its exact name. So when we're looking at an example, if we have 9 times 0, we know that the answer is 0. We've been taught that any number times 0 is 0. Let's take a look at this example. This example has a lot of steps, and so I'm going to be using some abbreviation and be writing as small as I can so that I can show you everything that I'm doing. So let's look at the problem. It says 1/4 times 12 minus 8 plus 3 times 15 divided by 5 minus 2. So we first want to start out looking at our parentheses, and we're going to start out with the 12 minus 8. So we want to leave our 1/4. 12 minus 8 is 4, but the directions say that they want us to tell what property we used for each step. So in this example, we used substitution. So I'm just going to abbreviate sub. And we use substitution because we did 12 minus 8 and we substituted the answer for that problem. The next step is to now use substitution again in the other set of brackets. So we're actually going to substitute, in this case, we are going to substitute for the 15 divided by 5. So the rest of the problem stays the same. So we have 1/4 times 4 plus 3. Now we open parentheses. 15 divided by 5 leaves us with 3 minus 2. And again, that was substitution. The next step is to substitute again for inside the parentheses. We're going to substitute right here. So we're going to rewrite the problem. 1/4 times 4 plus 3 times 3 minus 2 is 1. And again, that was substitution. Now we move on to a different type of property. And we have 1/4 times 4 plus 3 times 1. So we can first start out with the 3 times 1. I'm going to make a line here to kind of divide so you can continue following what I'm doing, and I'm going to move up to the right hand side. So we have 1/4 times 4 plus 3 times 1 is 3. Now, we know that 3 times 1 is 3, and any number times 1 is that number, and that property is the multiplicative property identity. So we can just abbreviate with multi-identity. Now we continue on, and we have 1/4 times 4, which is 1. So that leaves us with 1 plus 3. This example here, or this property, was the multiplicative inverse because we were multiplying two opposites together to get us the 1. And now we have 1 plus 3, which gives us our final answer of 4. And this last step was a property, it was the substitution property. So when you're going through doing problems like this, every step all along the way has a property. You just have to identify what that property is and how you're doing it. And I'm okay if you abbreviate. I do want you to show me every single step along the way to make sure that I understand that you see the change and you see how the problem is slowly getting smaller until you get your final answer.